So as we follow the money, there's a pot here that gets distributed in a certain way. Is your idea a good one? Absolutely. Can it be paid for from the current pot? No. So that's part of why. The other part is that people don't want to pay for it. I totally get that. Okay. So now the question is, so what I try and do for the athletes is say, look, if you come to me, not so much the pro athletes because they make more than I'll ever see. So Antonio Davis, when he was here a number of years ago, he signed a new contract for, it was $12 million a year. They get paid every other week. So if you break that down, it's $1 million a month. So every check he gets is $500,000. I said, Tony, one check for your buddy Peter. Just one. You won't miss it. You got another one coming in 2 weeks. He's like, no, that's not going to happen. Love you, not happening.
I didn't get one either.
So I don't give them a discount. But for other folks, ordinary folks who come in, I don't charge a dental fee for this. There is a dental fee for it, but I don't charge it because I don't think I want to. The lab is going to charge a fee because they have materials and time and labor, and I get all of that. So the mouth guards should not be cost prohibitive. I would argue that everybody has $100 to spend somehow. And I'm not saying that's inexpensive, but I'm saying in the face of what it would cost you to fix an injury, it's inexpensive. So if I put it into context, $100 isn't that much. And so I'm guessing at what the lab fee would be. So for $100, you get a custom fitted mouth guard. Here's a little spray that you can put on the inside of some mouth guards to keep them fresh. Fine, it's a good idea, to tell you the truth. It's a good idea to have such things. Let's keep talking about mouth guards for a second. Let's talk about what the alternate mouth guards are and sort of the marketing that goes around some of them. This is the Pure Power mouth guard, and it was invented by a fellow out in Nova Scotia, Anil Makar. The idea now is that I'm going to have recesses in the bottom jaw that your teeth are going to fit into a neuromuscularly neutral position. When your jaw is in a neuromuscularly neutral position, you are not distracted from your performance by jaw position. I am going to help you swing the bat better. I'm going to help you shoot the basketball better. I'm going to help you swing your golf club better. I'm going to help you run faster and jump higher. Okay, so let's put some of that to the test, which really hasn't been done in a vigorous form. I understand the idea of what he's saying in that something will distract you from your performance. The question then becomes, does that mean if I remove the distractions that your performance goes up? And if so, is this a performance-enhancing mouth guard? Okay, is it? I would argue the jury is out, but it's an interesting concept. So, and people have taken this concept pretty far. Okay, so here's some of the older athletes that certainly used it when this first came out. Did it improve their performance? I don't know, because these guys were pretty good at what they did anyway. Okay, if you take the mouth guard away, how much worse are they? Don't know. Here's something that's pretty attractive though, if you're a dentist. I get to charge $2,200. I just talked about $100 being kind of expensive for a mouth guard. Now I get to charge $2,000 for one? Sign me up. But I don't make these. And the reason I don't make these is because you have to go through a whole series of experiments isn't the right word, but clinical trials, I suppose, in order to find your neuromuscular neutral position. I need to put electrodes on your head. I need to move your jaw in certain ways. I need to watch what the waveforms are doing with this TENS unit on your head, find that spot. Then I need to take the impression with it at that spot. Then I have to send it off to the right lab to go ahead and make the mouth guard in the end. Okay, can you do all of that? Sure. Does it mean that you're going to improve your performance? I'm not convinced of that. So I don't bother to do it. But the idea of having a mouth guard that can enhance your performance is pretty tempting. And if you're a professional athlete where you have to be so good anyway, then you're willing certainly to spend $2,000 on something that's going to help. These are all the things that you need to do in order to make this. Dr. Richards and I, at one point, talked about maybe designing an experiment where we would test this thing. And then we just got bored with the concept. So we didn't bother to do it. But there would be objective ways probably to test whether or not your performance, any part of your performance would be better. What they have shown is that in certain planes, your balance may be better, and in certain tests, your strength may be better. But beyond that, they really haven't shown anything, I don't think, in a convincing fashion. So let's market this idea, because the idea is out there that a mouth guard can improve your performance. Here we have our Under Armour Performance mouthwear. Note, they don't call it a mouth guard, because they're not interested in it protecting your teeth, they're interested in your performance. Okay, this one doesn't even cover your teeth. Okay, so there's no protection there. The whole idea now is that your performance on the field of play is going to be improved because you are wearing this. Okay. Again, I don't see how that's going to happen, and I haven't seen any evidence or literature to support it, but they don't need evidence and literature. What they need is a logo, because what they want is more money. How about the Sisu mouth guard? That's this thing. I came across, it's a very thin piece of pretty hard plastic. I came across this in a hockey shop. Okay, here's, if I read the fine print, it costs $35, pretty expensive for an over-the-counter mouth guard, but it has a $30,000 warranty. So let's read the fine print on the warranty and figure out how can we collect $30,000 from this company. Well, essentially they say, well, we'll cover your teeth for like $1,000 a tooth. So they only get $30,000 from these people if you're to hurt 30 teeth at once. It's not possible. Okay, so the $30,000 dental warranty, while it looks good as a number, is not really achievable. And if you break one tooth, $1,000 may or may not cover you fixing it. Okay, if you need a crown or a cap on that tooth that you broke, well, that's your $1,000 because crowns cost more than $1,000. And forget about the x-rays that you needed, forget about the first time that I saw you bandage the tooth, forget about the time that I splinted it. So I'm not so sure that that kind of warranty is all that great. Let's protect our brain. Our brain pad mouth guard is maybe going to protect our TMJ, maybe going to protect us from concussion. They say it's going to, and it has a $12,000 dental warranty. Okay. Again, it's going to go by tooth, per tooth. So are these alternate mouth guards any better? I don't think they are. PX3 is apparently worn by Kevin Love. Okay. I know how you enhance airflow by putting something into your mouth. Okay, I don't think that can happen. But this is what they say. But if I look, again, I can sell this thing for $800 as opposed to $100, then there's a temptation from the dental side, there's a temptation for me to do that. Okay, all right, lots of mouth guards out there. Clearly there's a market that people are trying to tap into. I told you before that the NCAA has a rule that says you have to wear a mouth guard in football. So my question here is, where is the mouth guard in this photo? It's not in his mouth. I wouldn't put this out if it was in his mouth. Where's the mouth guard? Are your people's minds in the gutter? Yeah. That's not it, by the way. That's just a towel. Okay. Ooh. Aren't you sneaky, Dennis Ayers? So you don't get a penalty because you are wearing your mouth guard. Technically, that's correct. They do not throw, it didn't sit, the rule doesn't say you have to wear the mouth guard in your mouth. The rule says you have to wear a mouth guard. Okay, so what do? So let's just say you get hit, you get hurt. You can put a big number onto this annually, but that's not very helpful. This is a more helpful number to you. Remember I told you you had $1,000 a tooth, maybe on the best one, that Sisu mouth guard. Okay, but the first time you come and see me for a chip front, just a chip, and your front tooth is going to be $300. If that front tooth has nerve damage and I have to do root canal treatment, add another $422 onto that. If you took it out and I have to reimplant it, add another $500 on top of that. If you have this thing knocked out, lifetime care is $15,000. Okay, because I'm going to replace it, and then sooner or later I'm going to have to replace the replacement. That's the deal. And so that's why I'm suggesting maybe $100 for a mouth guard isn't such a steep price to pay after all. It's all relative. Now, if something happens, what do? I'm talking to you now not so much as athletes, but as coaches, as teachers, as parents. What do? Standard first response protocols, and I'm sure that Dr. Richard has gone through this in a great deal of detail. Essentially, you're going to stabilize the patient. The mouth is not really going to be the first thing you're going to worry about. It's the kind of last thing you worry about. Because whatever happens in the mouth, you can probably just fix it anyway. So work from the top and the bottom, work from the inside out. If someone really did bash up their mouth, and you have the ability to try to put things together, and there's a cut on the lip and there's a cut inside the mouth, don't work on the lip on the outside first, because then when you open the mouth to go inside, you're just going to slip this back over. Okay, so you're going to work from top to bottom because the top is stable, right? Remember your upper jaw is fixed to your skull, and the lower jaw moves so you have more access to it, and work from inside out. Just sort of a basic set of rules. Soft tissue injuries, again, I'm sure Dr. Richards has gone over. It's the same, soft tissue is soft tissue. Okay, the difference, I suppose, in your mouth is that sometimes it's in your mouth as opposed to on the outside. So the larger cuts you're going to close, you want pressure, you want ice, you want to raise it, you want to decrease the bleeding, you want to try and decrease the bruising probably by putting cold on it. When you're talking about teeth specifically, concussion and subluxation means the tooth has not moved, might be sore, might be loose, hasn't moved. Really all you want to do is stabilize it and have a soft diet for the next little while. What happens if you break a tooth? Well, now you kind of need some help. Okay, you can help to make it not hurt by using oil of cloves. Okay, oil of cloves, which you can buy in a regular supermarket, is eugenol. Eugenol has an ability to kind of deaden or numb the nerve. Okay, so just putting a little bit of oil of eugenol, clove oil, onto a Q-tip and putting that onto the sensitive tooth is going to help in the short term. Okay? You want to cover the fractured part as quickly as possible, and you're going to want to see next. We'll figure out exactly how bad the break is, and we'll hopefully be able to fix it. If you move the tooth, you displace the tooth, how far did you move it? That first picture that I showed you, that's a pretty big move. Okay, so we have to be careful about that, but speed is now of the essence. If you have the ability to put the tooth back where it belongs, do that. If you can put it back where it belongs and protect it with the mouth guard or something like that, do that. It's the best place for it. Okay, teeth are supposed to be in the socket in your mouth, so that's the best place for it. Great. You want to use cotton rolls? Do you want to use mouth guard? Here's something else you can use. You can use aluminum foil. Okay, if you're able to put it back in, aluminum foil you can sort of mold, and you can hold it in place. It's not protective, I get that. But all I'm trying to do is hold the tooth in position with a little bit of help. And everyone can use aluminum foil. There's nothing special about that. If your tooth comes out, time is super the enemy, because we have that periodontal ligament, that outside covering, the cementum that has cells that are vital on it. The more we keep that out of its natural environment, the more cells are going to die. The more cells that die, the less chance we have of successful replantation. So we have about half an hour. If you can't put it back in right away, you should do that. Listen, 5 minutes is ideal, so you want to do it in the actual field of play, but you don't always get a chance to do that. Once the tooth comes out, what do? Do try to replace the tooth. Don't force it into place. If it just doesn't fit or it's too painful, then don't. Touch the crown of the tooth, that's where the enamel is, don't touch the root. The root has living cells on it that I don't want you to damage, that I don't want to damage, so I'm not going to touch it either. If there's debris on it, rinse it off, do not scrub the root of the tooth. Again, those cells you're going to knock off. If you do that, then the tooth has no chance of survival. Keep the tooth moist. Doesn't matter what you keep it moist with, it actually does. I'm going to go through a little table that has that. Once you have the tooth back where it belongs, bite on something that's a little bit soft. If you have a custom fitting mouth guard, so much the better. If you don't, bite on something soft, or just to hold it into place. And if it's a baby tooth, leave it out. Okay, it's tooth fairy time, and that's fine. What can we store the knocked out tooth in? Well, dry is the worst option. Tap water is the next worst option because it doesn't have the right balance. Okay, it doesn't have salts in it, it doesn't have electrolytes in it. It's the wrong balance, it's going to start to burst the cells that are on the outside. It's better than being dry, but it's not much better than being dry. You put numbers to this, and you can see that it's not much better than being dry. How about the saline? Well, that's better. Okay, that's better. At least it doesn't explode the cells that are out there, and that's better. In the mouth, better. Cold milk, better. Cold organic milk, actually really good. Okay, really good. HBSS is Hank's Bivalent Salt Solution. This is kind of made to preserve cells. So this is the easiest, bestest thing that we can put our avulse teeth in, assuming you can't just put it back into the mouth easily. Viaspan is actually for organ, if you're doing like organ transplants, we take it out of one person, put it in Viaspan, and take it elsewhere. So that's a little crazy to use for this from the standpoint of dentistry. It's not even that much better than Hank's Bivalent Salt Solution. This is enough time. Right? It's clearly enough time. So again, cold organic milk is probably the best of the common things you would come across. This is Sabatooth, and this is the system that has a little basket on the inside. This is Hank's balanced salt solution. This is a little non-traumatic basket.